bring in former U.S. Air Force Assistant Vice Chief of Staff, retired Lieutenant General Richard Newton, NewsNation senior national security contributor. Lieutenant General, it's good to be back with you this morning. A lot of specifics to get into here, but just first, your overall thoughts on both of these released reports, particularly 2 days ahead of 9/11.
Well, good morning, Markie. On top of Joe's expert, again, his reporting there. I've read both the Foreign Affairs Committee Republican report as well as the Democrats' response. I wish we could take this and keep this out of the political square, although we are in obviously a presidential election season. I understand that. Plenty of lessons learned here. It starts back with the Trump administration having unilateral negotiations with the Taliban in Qatar back in 2020, leading up to, again, the debacle of withdrawal, as we're seeing here on our TV screens, with regard to, I believe that's on the President of the United States, that being President Biden. My bottom line here is that, my hope is that the United States, like our Gold Star mother said, that we have plenty of lessons learned here for future administrations on how not to do a withdrawal of U.S. forces out of a major area of operations, as we saw in Afghanistan. But again, this is not a good day for the United States. In fact, this is perhaps one of the worst foreign policy decisions, certainly in the 21st century, in my view. But nonetheless, plenty of lessons learned to go around, and we can get into that.
Yeah, I know you call the withdrawal tragic and preventable. Republicans on this committee say the Biden administration ignored the pleas of the Afghan government, determined to withdraw, quote, no matter the cost. Democrats, on the other hand, say the Trump administration set this withdrawal into motion without considering any facts on the ground, failed to plan on executing it. General, I'm curious, is the truth somewhere in the middle that both administrations are somewhat responsible?
I believe they are, Markie. It certainly starts, as I mentioned, with the Trump administration dealing directly with the Taliban back in February of 2020 in Qatar, but leading up to, again, the date certain withdrawal that President Biden put on the table on August 30th. Plenty of stops along the way to change some really bad decisions, starting with back on July 5th, when we unilaterally left a Bagram Air Base to the north. That cut off, left open a major airport for us to operate aircraft, both for withdrawal, but also for combat overwatch and so forth. The decision also was very late and very slow in planning for and approving, and that's on President Biden, of a non-combatant evacuation of American embassy personnel, other American civilians, as well as those that we wanted to bring out of Afghanistan, those Afghan people who had supported us all these years. That decision wasn't made till August 15th, Martin. Very late in the game. That led to, I believe, what we saw, this horrendous withdrawal that ensued the last week of August. The other piece that is very important here is somewhat lost. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, General McKenzie, the commander of U.S. Central Command, even our intelligence community have advocated for the U.S. to leave or keep a U.S. force posture of, say, 2,500 troops to remain in Afghanistan while we were withdrawing, in order to provide support for the Afghan security forces. The fact that we picked up and left and did not leave a residual U.S. combat force there completely took the rug out from underneath the Afghan security forces, which then allowed for the Taliban to swiftly come in and quickly take over Afghanistan.
Yeah, you touched on lessons for future administrations. Come January, we'll have a new president. We'll see what lessons they learned from this withdrawal. Lieutenant General Richard Newton, as always, sir, thank you for your time. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.